when we do Q&A, like if we don't have to turn the camera on you, just let me know and speak up since we don't have mics. I can be loud. Yeah, I know you can be loud.
I can do that. Yeah, that's good.
Lila, let me talk about you too.
Oh, well, how did I get here?
You showed up because I asked you to be on this panel.
I mean, at this point, well, I was getting.
That's how it starts.
That's fine. I got how I got here.
I was like, you got here by wheels. All right, it's 10 o'clock. Let's get started. Ben is being very kind and streaming this for me on my Twitch channel. So there'll be a video later if anyone comes in late or if you just want to review what we said. Thank you for closing the door. So hopefully you all read what this panel's about. I'm not going to read this at you because I don't believe reading slides of people. I worked in corporate for too many years to tolerate that. So read this. Again, I'll put a PDF of this out later. But first, I did not come up with this panel. My friend Andie did. So Escablades, you all know him. He does great cosplay. He's done Black Panther, Green Lantern, a lot of other cool stuff. Works at Ubisoft. And that's actually an E3 photo from when he could finally talk about Watch Dogs, the new game. He's a product marketing manager. So please give Andie a follow on Twitter. Say hi. Thank him for this panel because, again, I did not come up with it. So I believe in giving credit where credit is due. So please live tweet. If you can get a signal, please do so. Look, I've been to some cons where it's like you have entered the dark zone. Cellular service no longer lasts. And if you need me to speak up, because I'm usually louder, but it's early, and I kind of brunched the entire brunch of my life yesterday. And there were bottomless alcohol, so. But also, I've been to many panels here and at MagFest, and I do things a little differently. If you have a burning question, write it down, hold on to it. When we get to the Q&A, that's when you can ask your question, and it needs to be a question. If it is not a question, I'm going to ask you to go find one. You laugh. I have done it. I have had people walk out on me at various conventions because I would not let them have their moment in the sun. So I will ask you where your question is. If you can't find one, then write it down or tweet at me. Also, and the promoting yourself in channel, I've just copied this from other slides. I also do a panel about Twitch streaming. So in this case, we'd be promoting your Twitter. But I'm, luckily for you, not going to be the only one talking today. So please, my panelists, introduce yourselves.
Okay, my name is Shonte Daniels, or Marie Daniels. I'm a writer, freelance game writer, journalist, whatever, critic, whatever word basically that you want to put there. And I've been doing that for about 5 years now. I'm also a host for the podcast Non-Player Conversations, which is a podcast about celebrating people of color, marginalized folks in the gaming community. And season 1 is already out, and season 2 is being made. So if you want to listen to that podcast, it's on Spotify, SoundCloud, and iTunes. It's not wherever you can find your podcast because I don't know how to do that yet. But it's in those 3 places. So hopefully you can find that. Yeah, I think that's about it as far as you need to know about me.
My name's Lila Bobina. I'm a Twitch streamer and overall just weirdo. I used to be cookout for a POC group called The Cookout. So I just know some stuff and I like to talk. So here I am.
You get louder here, though.
Oh, louder. Sorry. I'm trying to. Everybody was saying I was yelling at me yesterday. Hi. Should I say it again?
Yes, because you are not
sorry.
loud.
My name is Lila Bobina. I'm a Twitch streamer and overall weirdo. I used to be an admin for a group called The Cookout, POC, gamer creative. So, yeah, hi. Nice to meet everybody.
And I'm your moderator. My name is Tanya DePass. I'm also known as Cypher online, all over the internet, except for Final Fantasy. The Square will not let you change your name for love or money. So I started I Need Diverse Games. If you've seen that around the internet, I was mad about games at 6 in the morning about 5 years ago. And from there, it grew into a community. We're now a 501c3 nonprofit. I am also a Twitch streamer. If anyone's into D&D and you want to see a show of all melanin, I am on a show called Rivals of Waterdeep, which unfortunately I'm missing because I'm here today. But we are a group of people who do our show live in Chicago on Twitch's D&D channel every Sunday for Eastern time zone. It is 1 p.m. I write, I've edited Game Devs and Others, Tales from the Margins from CRC Press. And they finally announced that I'll be a guest at Geek Girl Con in November, and I'll actually be right back here in DC in a couple weeks to give the keynote at Smithsonian American Art Museum event on August the 3rd. So, like I said, I'm cyber tier literally everywhere. All right, let's talk about the culture of Black Twitter. So, quick question for the audience. When I say Black Twitter, you hear Black Twitter, what do you think? This is the only participation part. So, shout out, raise your hand. When you see Black Twitter, what do you think?
Can't do nothing wrong.
I'm like, who said that? All right, what else? Yeah.
I'd say validation.
For just existing in online spaces?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, am I crazy? Oh, okay. And then how can 100 million other people be crazy? Then, all right. So, am I saying what you're saying? If you're saying what I'm saying, look at this shit. You know, that kind of thing. So,
Like when you DM me, Frank, like, did you see this? I saw that. Is it us?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah. Anybody?
That general sense of sharing ideas.
Okay.
Like ideas that are helpful move faster.
Okay. That's another hand.
I was gonna say names.
Yeah.
Oh, we got
Cultural memes.
We got memes coming up. Don't worry, we got you. And you?
I'd say like when we see like for the casting of Ariel, where you see the vast majority is just all black folks, it's like yeah, we got a black mermaid,
Yeah.
and I'm like yes,
Like I'm rooting for everybody black.
right.
Yeah.
You see support coming from, which is like the best part of everything. I really do gotta be louder. You're right.
So what about you all? When you hear or see Black Twitter or hashtag Black Twitter, what do you think?
For me, it's like, on one hand, whenever Black Twitter's like in the public, I'm like, oh no, but not in a bad way. Like, what's going on? Yeah, like what's going on? But it's like a lovingly like, I love seeing that. I love that it's this group, this like, it almost feels like it needs to have its own trademark of like Black Twitter, TMs. Like it is this cultural collective of people that are vocal. It makes me think, I don't know if anyone saw this, but there's this tweet about apparently Beyonce had like, I forget, was it like Niagara Falls? It was like some big place.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And there was an article saying everyone was mad about it, but if you looked at all the comments, it was all these black folk that were like, I was there and everyone loved it. I was there and everyone was happy. It was just like a bunch of black people just making shit up. But like, they were just saying like no one was mad about this.
They were
Everyone
the
loves
Grand
Beyonce.
Canyon.
Oh, was it
Yeah.
the Canyon? Okay, yeah. It's just like this collective like group huddled together. Like we're not gonna let anyone be down. Like unless there were Kelly.
Look, I'm gonna be that person. I was real excited to wake up and say the Fed snatched his ass up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all can be mad if you want, but hey, block Twitter. If I said it on Twitter, imagine my mentions right now. So the way Andie put this and a lot of other folks think about it is like Black Twitter is the rise of micro-influencers. So RIP Vine, how many folks do we find on Twitter and on other places through Vine? And like, what's the one dude who always does the Naruto dance off?
Yeah.
I'm terrible at names. All I know is I know that one dude's videos,
Yeah.
and I always have the Naruto dance off. You know, African American Vernacular English or AVE gets co-opted, it gets stolen, like on fleek, bruh, clap back. Like, how many of us? What?
Remember Blaine? No. First of all, don't give me a face. That was
No, that was a do I?
just how quick it just became like. It started from just a song and it was hilarious. It's something we all saw and said, haha, bling bling. And the next thing you know, everybody was saying it. I was like, how did we get here? What do you guys know about bling?
Well, it's like, so I knew that like On Fleek had just jumped the shark when I got an Old Navy email. Like,
Oh, yeah.
we have styles on Fleek. I was like, Old Navy.
Marketing execs are the worst. I'm sorry.
What?
Marketing is the worst. I'm sorry.
Oh, it absolutely is. But that's when you know we've got to that point where it's like you start seeing common things like, you know, like Yas Queen when you get emails for like jeans. That's not what I'm thinking when I want to just go buy some jeans and some shorts. Or it's like how many people be like, oh, they clap back, and it's like, do you understand what this actually means?
No,
Right.
it just sounds nice.
It sounds great, but you
Kids
know.
are saying it.
Cool. But let's also not forget about Black queer culture, where a lot of these phrases started. And you know, like Billy Porter's out here being the most stylish dude I've ever seen in my life. But then we also do things like Pose was snubbed at the BET Awards. So how come? And so that was something that came up on Black Twitter, where it's like everybody's like, oh yeah, BET, like this is our thing. But a lot of us queer Black folks were like, Pose, Billy Porter, where were they? So Black Twitter is an interesting kind of microcosm when you think of it that way. Like it's a society unto itself, and I wish I had the time and the money to go back to school and study the ethnography of Black Twitter itself. Because imagine how fascinating of a study that would be. But I also don't want to be that weirdo that studies other Black people. That would be weird to me. For me, I'm saying other folks go do it, not me. So we got your memes. So memes, here we go. But also hashtags. A lot of the hashtags that we see. What?
His name is Nicky. I never knew his name.
I didn't either, just someone told me. I didn't know. All I know is I have confused Black guy gifs saved in my phone. But how many people use this GIF all the time? Raise your hand if you ever use this GIF. Or you got this GIF in response to some weird shit you said on Twitter. And people just go, are you okay? But companies, so getting back to the marketing and the companies where it's like, I feel like there must be somebody in every office of a brand that just watches Black Twitter for what they do and what they say. And like watch, like, you know, something becomes known within like a couple months, everyone's using it, and then another 3 to 6 months you start getting those marketing emails. So your thoughts on this, because I don't want to talk for the whole panel, and I've also got to talk at another panel right after this. What do you think, especially the live tweeting, because I'm not into live tweeting shows, but I know that is a big thing, like, what's his name? Rod. Black guy who tips. I can't think of his Twitter name.
Rodimus Prime.
Thank you. Like Rodimus Prime does like a lot of live tweeting and stuff like that. So what are your thoughts on this, like how things that we're just doing culturally for ourselves becomes a marketing tool for others and theft of that?
The theft of the interesting part. Oh. Sorry, morning
Could
flight.
someone be trying to get them water, please?
I would love that. And nobody? Okay. Don't run.
Wait, we got you.
So, sorry, big question, sorry. Yeah, I was still talking.
So your thoughts about like the ways in which culturally you use things like Black Twitter for live tweeting shows, you know, like reshaping and bringing new language about, because a lot of the words that come through Black Twitter come through AVE.
I love how we break down things and we show a lot of like interactions between people in shows or anything that we need to talk about culturally, like say what's that picture? Blackish, when it has to do with colorism and how we all feel differently. Explain to other cultures so they can better understand our point of views and our sayings and why this part of this show is important. But it also lets us get our like just connect and be funny and be friendly with each other and connect. And oh, you watched that show too? Oh my God! And then next thing you know,
like. It's just, I feel like, a fact that Black people are funny and charismatic. We know how to joke, and we know how to have fun, and it seems inevitable in a way that marketing would look at that and then say, how can we use this in our advantage?
and they can pay us.
Right, and I was actually thinking about, because I'm always thinking about video games, the way that our dance moves have been taken into video games. It's very weird on him.
Why is Nathan Drake flossing?
Right, everything looks weird about it. And it's kind of like, in my head, I feel like it's almost, I expect it only because I know how great of a community we are. And that doesn't mean I like it per se. The problem with it is that it's never credited. It's never, like, I think using these things would be fine if they were ever mentioned where they came from. Because it, you know, as we're on Twitter or as we just dance, as we just talk or sing, as we be us, and as the internet is like, oh, you got a great dance move, time to put it on Nathan Drake. You know, oh, you got a good hashtag, time to like stick it onto this show that is not being, it's not good yet.
It's not being used for good.
Right, exactly.
I think it's really interesting. It is just us being us. and we've always been watched. We've always, you know, when it comes to cult professional.
Look, I'm a heathen.
I am too. You see these shorts? These good shorts.
Shorts and Alaska.
The shorts. It is, I think, Black Twitter is huge for companies because they're just sitting there and they're getting all this just free content. We instantly are gonna make stuff that's gonna be hilarious. See a show, see a meme, somebody makes it, we're making jokes, boom, next thing you know it's on somebody's shirt and they're selling it, and it's like, we should be selling the shirts. Like, I think going forward, we really need to learn how to like captivate our own stuff. Like say, okay, I came up with this meme. You're gonna hashtag whatever, you gonna give me some money.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that needs to happen.
It's like, sorry.
Oh no, I was just thinking about the young lady who came up with On Fleek, and she finally got paid. She put it out there. She was like, "Oh no, here's the clip," because I think she did it on a Vine or Periscope. She's like, "No, here's the proof that I was the first one that did this," and she finally got paid. But how many years did it take?
There was a girl with the little hand, the little Okay, so I don't know her name, but everybody we know what I'm talking about. She went through a legal battle with, I think it was Instagram, because I think that's where it started from. They were like, no, and like they were monetizing it, and she was like, you know, give me hello, and they were like, no, everything you put on Instagram belongs to us. So that was the whole funny thing. I'm like, but you're getting money off of it. Not even just like it being on your site. You're making money off of it.
Right.
You should pay her. Like, it's clear it came from her. Like, it's her face. It's her body. You cannot deny it.
Right. I mean, thinking about YouTube, and I know I'm like going all over the place, but like I'm just thinking about the fact that most popular YouTubers are all white, right?
Yeah.
But like,
Which culture do this?
exactly, like how many white
Take all
YouTubers
the
are talking
hell
about what's the tea, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
What is the tea?
They don't know what the tea means. They're just talking about like what's up, but they're saying what's the tea. Like that's not how that works.
Not tea.
And yet, like, you know, even though our words are visible, even though our hashtags and our dance moves are visible, we are still not visible yet.
We're respected.
We're still not respected. Like our black YouTubers are nowhere near as popular as the white YouTubers as far as shows go. Not nearly as popular as like predominantly white shows. There's this discrepancy where they love how we talk and they love how we sing and dance, but they don't like how we look yet. You know, and it's
Or at all.
Right.
So I want to say what you say, but don't stand too close to me.
Or just like people that, you know, I'm probably gonna burn and all kinds of hell for bringing this up, but we're talking about Black Twitter. What's your fake black woman? Dolezal.
Oh my
Rachel.
God.
Oh no.
Look, I told y'all I was a heathen. I don't care that it's Sunday. But you know, but that was something where it was like it became a Twitter thing of like,
Are you serious?
like, A, are you serious? But it was like this person literally co-opted blackness and made money off it.
Yeah.
Like she fooled almost everybody. Told her family was like, no, do you see this and do you see her?
Right.
But there are people like they'll tan, they'll get locks, and
There's so many Instagram people doing that.
look,
Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Like blackfishing, I think it's called.
what?
Blackfishing, I think it's called.
Yeah. Or like beauty bloggers that'll make themselves look ethnic.
Yeah.
My
James
one
Charles
for the
does that, and I
day.
hate it.
Who?
James Charles. Like I swear his shades like he's pale, but I swear his makeup is like this color, and I'm like that's not how it works. I don't even wear makeup, and I don't know. I know that's not how that works.
That's a whole other panel. But you know, those things where it's like everything about us is cool enough, it's for the culture, except being us, because let's be real, especially in the regime we are living under in the US. And yes, I said regime. In the capital, I don't care. Everything about us is cool except for the burden of being black. Because let's be real, if anybody could choose to be black, or like, you know, for those of us who play video games, how many people get mad about, I gotta be a black dude in a video game?
Right.
Like, you know that you can turn your computer off, you can end the game, you don't have to turn the lights off, you can go be white everywhere else.
Right.
This is permanent.
Right.
You know, and yeah, I'm light, but nobody's gonna look at me and think I'm any, like, they might think I'm mixed, but then nobody's gonna mistake me for white. So how do we deal with the Black Twitter culture, our hashtags, our thoughts, our comedy is good enough to steal, but we're not good enough to credit. And I know we talked about it a little bit, but I want to get a little deeper into it because the next part is about networking and other stuff, and then we'll open it up for questions. Because the hashtags are on here. Solidarity for white women, because white feminists have fucked over black women since day one. They wore hoods too. Black Lives Matter. I mean, a lot of the terrible things that we've seen, a lot of the deaths that have happened, we might not have known of if it weren't for Black Twitter. And I'm not talking about sharing snuff videos, because if I see you do that, that's just a block. So I don't get to see nobody's death. Or your slip is showing. How many people know what an op is on Twitter? So an op is like when 4chan, 8chan, all the races get together and go, we're gonna, because what would they try to do, like make it sound like black women want to get rid of Father's Day?
That was one.
So ops are like when these groups, like if you've heard of 4chan, 8chan, they'll do things like they'll get together on their boards. Now they can be organized enough to do this shit. It doesn't work, so you see through it. They'll do things like create hashtags called like cancel Father's Day. Or they're pushing the narrative that Kamala Harris isn't really American-born black.
Okay.
Stuff like that, where it's like that's an op to basically put people against each other, or they'll create fake accounts and they'll use a black person's avatar.
Blackface.
And then you look at it and you go, what black person have you ever met? Because they sound like they went back to Step and Fetch It and studied that and put those words in this bot's mouth. And you just look at it for 5 minutes and go, I know that I am not the most hood cred person. But
weird.
I'm pretty sure that if I called up a cousin, they would still go, what the fuck is this? So things like that were like Oscars so white. We wouldn't have the traction we do in getting more people of color recognized. The Oscars have been one for April's tag. And obviously Black Girl Magic. That's a whole movement. Because black women especially, we don't get the shine that we should of merely existing in the things we do, like Ava DuVernay, all the black women that are out there doing those, Issa Rae. Those hashtags really push their work. Not that they weren't doing the work anyway, but that was really a vehicle to get them seen by other black folks, because for some of us, Twitter is our main vehicle.
Absolutely.
Of getting out there.
Like, I would not be as visible as I am without Twitter, which is difficult because Twitter also sucks. There's a lot of hate on there. There's just a lot of from the company itself, from the people that they don't try to block for any reason. The rules, Twitter's rules just don't
make no sense.
They don't make any sense. They're harmful, and it's hard because. On one way, I'm very grateful for Twitter because it helped me find places that wanted my work and for people to find me, and I'm able to be visible. But on the other hand, I can only stand being on Twitter for 30 minutes a day because it's just a lot, and everyone's there, and it's that's great. Now I can be a little visible, but it's sometimes I don't want to be this visible when people want to be assholes to me. So. It's that weird, but and also people discredit Twitter, and they always say oh, Twitter activism doesn't do anything, but obviously it does. There's a lot of change that happens because of Black Lives Matter, because of Oscars So White, with the visibility of Black Girl Magic. People discredit these hashtags because they're seen as just hashtags, but obviously there's something very powerful in that that we need to recognize, or I think everyone here recognizes that, but everyone out there needs to recognize.
Yeah, I mean, I literally wouldn't be here if it weren't for hashtags, so. Okay, so this is the last slide, because we've got about 25 minutes left, and I want to make sure that we have time to chat and have questions, Q&A. So networking. So I want you two to talk about this a little bit before I do, because I may just start cussing a lot. I mean, I cuss anyway. I'm trying, not real hard. To not use F-bombs too many before the next panel, because that other panel y'all just have to deal with it. But things like not overusing hashtags, as streamers, we know, somebody's go live tweet is 50 tags, 50 hashtags. And maybe that link is in there. And nobody,
Yeah,
I don't care. Like, I'm tired of reading this. I even got to your channel first. So things like that is like networking etiquette and how to treat each other well when we are interacting with other Black folks on Twitter. And not just with each other, but then if I want a brand to recognize me, for lack of a better word.
Sorry, that's okay. So,
Yes, just go.
yes. Hi. So I guess networking and marketing would be kind of my, not specialty, but I think I started and I'm going in like a good traction. Starting to roll the ball, so to say. My tips would be to like find where you fit in social media, and what she said, don't use like 1,000 hashtags. Don't, because you take yourself out of you being you and say, if I'm scrolling down, what's gonna catch my eye? What's gonna make me wanna go, okay, who is this? What is this? Put yourself in your audience's like shoes. Use like engagement and relationship building. It's Black Twitter in itself can be an amazing thing for you if you're an artist, if whatever you're doing, you can use this to skyrocket your career. You can use it to also, it could be your downfall if you're doing entirely too much on there. So, like, you know, watch what you say, because you might not know everybody who's watching you. It might be somebody who's around you, they just don't tell you that they have their eyes. You never know, never know who's lurking. You know, all the back ways for people to watch your stuff or watch you without you finding out. So just be on your toes about that. But listen to your audience and respect them, so to say. I mean, not so to say, respect them. Here.
I was like, where's this going? Oh, that's another meme. There you go.
Yeah, but know the power of your voice. And if something's bothering you, if you know you want to speak up on a subject or a trending topic, do so, but do so respectively, because you are trying to build a brand, and companies will look at this. So don't be wildin', so to say, but don't be scared to speak up. Don't let anybody take your voice. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, so I wouldn't say I'm an expert on networking. I've kind of been learning it myself this past year because I've been trying to broadcast myself more, because I haven't really done that a lot, and I've been learning as I've been going. But I agree with everything that you've said, and I think being your most authentic, real self on Twitter will get you the most views or retweets, likes, whatever those are. Because honestly, hashtags, when you just stack them, when it's just hashtag on hashtag, you just look like a robot at that point. No one really is listening at that point. And hashtags are obviously very important, like we talked about before, but like use kind of sparingly and try to use the ones that are being used as well. Because I've seen hashtags that are just like hashtag game or like hashtag kid. And it's like, who's looking at that? Right.
Not at all.
Exactly. And I think one of the ways to kind of be seen or to network is to look at what's trending and to find a way to kind of be in that conversation. Obviously, I don't think you should try to like just wedge yourself in there if you've got nothing good to say. But if you've got something, for me, when I'm thinking about my games writing, I try to think about a game that's like popular at the moment and try to see if there's something I can actually say about that game, because obviously something that's popular is getting a lot of views right now, it's getting a lot of talks right now, so if you want to be a part of that conversation and get people to notice you, talking about something that's trending is very helpful. But again, I try not to, like, I have really nothing to say about Fortnite, so I'm not going to write about it. I've never played it, I'm not interested, so there's really no point.
Don't force yourself to do anything.
Right, exactly.
Don't force.
Yeah.
It'll be seen, and it'll be seen as kind of fake, so
Yeah.
just be yourself.
And networking on Twitter, I feel like it's just so hard. It's like it's as easy as just putting a little like mention and being like, "Hey, company," but like it. Oh,
I was talking to myself.
I thought you were whispering to me. Like, yes. But I think for me, it's also about being consistent. You don't want to like have something big out there and then like for a month, 2 months not do anything. You really got to be consistent, because that's how you're going to get people seeing you. If you think about YouTube, think about the fact that if you're looking at your recommendations, like for me personally, I'll always get like this one person. And at first, like, I'll ignore it. I'll be like, I don't care about this person. But eventually I get this recommendation enough that I'm like, all right, I just gotta watch it. And then I watch it, and then either I like it and I continue watching, or I'm just like, all right, I was right, I didn't like this person. But they got that view, and it's because of that consistency. So you really want to make sure that you're trying to stick to, I would say schedule. I'm a scheduler, I'm a planner, so I try to write like weekly, bi-weekly. But trying to be that consistent presence is what's going to get your voice out there the most. And with Twitter, it's, you know, I think a lot of people are always trying to get that like 2,000, 3,000 retweet tweet. Like everyone's trying to get that popular tweet. It's like trying is not. It's really luck based. It's just like you say a joke and apparently everyone loves it. It's the
Always the stuff we don't want to go viral.
Oh, absolutely. Like for me, it's my most like sweet tweet will always be something that has a typo, and it's like, well,
That's so mean.
it's already got 100 retweets. I'm not going to delete it and retype it. Like,
It is now.
like you know what it says.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, 'cause,
Exactly.
well, the other couple things that we haven't touched on yet is being overly familiar with people you haven't actually met.
Yeah. Oh
I
God.
did that was me.
I was just gonna talk about it in general, but you called yourself out.
Yeah.
I'm always the person who's gonna take responsibility for myself. But I think in doing that, it shows that people are like, okay, you don't have to be perfect. Learn. Like, it's okay to screw up. It's okay to be wrong sometimes. Just learn from that. Don't just like double down on it and be like, no, I said what I said or acted how I acted. Okay. Well,
Yeah, or like, and I'm thinking specifically like, or people like call you hey sis, hey fam, and I'm like, I don't know you.
Right.
I mean, and like on the one hand, it's kind of cool, but I think certain phrases people overuse again, kind of going back to the beginning.
stealing from black
Or it's
culture,
like,
not
or it's other black people like, hey fam, let's,
Right.
and I'm like, but I don't know you.
Right. That's the
Like-
thing, is like Twitter is casual, but it can also be professional. Like I've gotten job offers from Twitter in my DMs. You should still be professional if you're about to reach out to someone. And like starting with hey fam, ain't doing it.
Right, or like, or if I tweet something, someone like, maybe we're mutuals, but we never met face to face. We don't,
Right.
like, we don't have that connection, and people like just get too comfortable because, oh, we're mutuals, and this online kind of, I'm trying to think of a good way to phrase it. Like, there's this false intimacy that comes
Right.
from being online, especially if you are very online. And like for me, being online is my bread and butter. But some days I also hate it because people get real casual, real quick. And I'm in my 40s. I ain't trying to be nobody's buddy. I'm not your friend. I'm not your mama. I'm not your auntie.
Yeah.
People call me, hey auntie. I'm like, no. Like, I know you like Killmonger. I like Killmonger too. Let's not. But the other, right, like, nah. I'll just bust out. I'm an only child. I don't know you like that. But the other part too is, and the last 2 points on the slide is like when people especially hit up verified black folks on Twitter, like they'll tweet it like Ava or somebody's got a blue check.
And they're supposed to get a response.
What?
And they're supposed to get a
Well,
response.
they hope for a response with it, or on the other side of that, they tweet some weird mess at folks and then are surprised when they get the response that they get, and I'm like, how did you think that was going to work out for you?
Right.
Or they just expect you to, especially being visible and black and female, people think they can say all manner of shit to you.
In your DMs. Those are fine.
And not even DMs, they'll just
In
reply to
person.
stuff and then go, well, it's public. And I'm like,
And
okay.
you're probably blaming that jackass.
Yeah.
True. And the other part too is like how they will ignore the overall community and just try to hit those big names.
Right.
Like I see it, like, cause I do D&D, I see it with like RPG folks, like how many times I see people tagging the folks in Critical Role instead of like the overall RPG community. Or they'll tag people like, and it's cool, like it's nice to tag people, but how many of these people you think get tagged publicly all day,
Right.
every day? And it's like, you begging this person for a retweet doesn't guarantee that your Kickstarter's gonna get funded,
Right.
your show's gonna get traction, whatever it is. So think about your overall community, because again, I would not be sitting here, I wouldn't know either of them, I wouldn't know friends in the audience if it were not for the power of Twitter and good it can sometimes do, but realizing there's a community of people out
Right.
here.
Right.
Because
Relationship.
relationship
Yeah.
building, like,
Period.
I can't hear that now. That's a meme. The period, like, and
period.
yeah, and like putting the bonnets and nails on the Marvel characters.
Oh my
That's like, I just like, I was
So
scrolling
funny.
through Twitter and I saw that like with Chris Evans, and I was like,
Yeah.
Chris Evans liked it. That's what it
It was like I just
was.
turned my phone over and walked away because I was not ready.
Yeah.
I was just trying to have a good moment on Twitter. So yeah, but think about that. So overall networking, I'm actually gonna. They haven't taken it, but I submitted a panel to PAX about networking is actually about making friends and not just what can you do for me. Because here's the thing. All those people that you clout chased, all those people that you ignored, if you get to a certain point and then when you slide back down because nobody can stay at top forever, all those people you ignored are going to be the ones waving at you on the way down. So Black Twitter can be great and there's great power in it, but you got to remember networking, especially if you want to work with other Black folks. Because I have a terrible memory. I'll remember every petty ass thing someone did to me for the rest of my life. So we've got about 15 minutes, 13. So have a question. If you don't have it, I'm gonna ask you to go find it. And speak up, and if you'd like me to repeat it back since we are streaming this, just let me know. And there's no mic, so just ask me. Oh, we got to Q&A and y'all leave. I ain't got a question, I'm going. All right, so did you have a question?
Yeah, I did. I noticed that there seems to be this trend towards more closed communities.
Yeah.
I forgot I think it was Mighty App or something. It was this
Yeah.
app where you basically, somebody was gonna chip money in and you kind of have like your own walled garden.
Yeah.
I think, do you see that as maybe kind of a solution on a wider scale? Like basically just kind of close ourselves off like a Harlem or a Black Wall Street too, because the problem is that we're getting curated and we're getting commoditized and we have to go through hell and high water to get compensated.
So for those watching the stream, the question, so there was an app, basically is walling ourselves off and kind of creating paywalls and curating our own content where other people can't see it?
Well, yeah, I mean, basically a vetting process,
Right.
you know, like the verified on Twitter or
Yeah.
Instagram or something like that, but, you know, so that because I know that a lot of people have done that or wanting to do that in an economic sphere, like they want to bring back
Right.
Black Wall Street, but they want it more dispersed and anonymous and spread out all over the United
Right. So
States.
basically creating a Black Wall Street but for Twitter.
Right.
On the one hand, I think they're always having spaces just for us is great, but we can't ignore the economic part of that. Let's say if there's either a paywall or what if somebody's just starting out and they're not at that point to meet whatever criteria is set for that. Who's making the decision? Who's deciding you're okay to be in that sphere?
Right.
Because as it is, we already got Pick Me Twitter, we already got folks that they're like, it's Black Twitter, but then there's people that's like, you're not the right kind of Black Twitter, you don't have a check mark Black Twitter. We already striated ourselves enough. Do we want to create yet another location? Now, if we want to have like a Slack or Discord that is just us, and you say, well, you gotta do a short app to get in, and that's our content. Because unless you're gonna keep your Twitter locked, how are you? And not say you can't lock your Twitter and still grow. Because there are people I know that got huge followers and they keep their Twitter locked. I don't know. For me, that's just like, to me, it's like, in theory, it sounds great.
Yeah.
But it can go wrong so many ways.
Right, and also they burned down Black Wall Street. So, and I'm not saying that to be funny.
Yeah.
The striation that can happen even within, we could wind up burning ourselves within these walls we built just to keep our content safe.
Some of us don't want us to shine, and that's the sad part. Some of us are looking for ways to tear down any community that we do build because they don't think it should happen, and it's like, okay, well, go set it apart. But I should come here.
Well, I just think there's a better way to contain it and a better way to go. I think we should just teach people more about protect your content, learn how to use a trademark, learn what Creative Commons is.
Yeah.
So if your content gets out there and it blows up and go, oh no, here, I can document where I started, Creative Commons license, pay me.
Yeah.
I don't have my laptop, but I have a sticker on that says fuck you, pay me. And that is my mantra.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do worry about like that idea of kind of sanctioning off, but there is
There's an appeal to it too.
Yeah, and it's a good talk about how to protect ourselves. That's how to protect our speech and our language and our and our content. I think that's a really important question to have. especially with something that's public, like Twitter or Instagram. It's kind of like, how do you legalize your photo or your tweet or your hashtag, which I honestly don't know. That's something.
Yeah, my hashtag, I found out.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Learn things every day.
Or copyright, I'm sorry.
There's one solution. But yeah, I think there has to be a bigger talk about how to protect our stuff so that it doesn't just get taken for companies or for anyone. Like anyone can just take a tweet or like there was an issue going on with Lizzo right now because there was talks that she took a tweet from another black woman and didn't credit her. And used her tweet for a song. So I mean, even anyone can just take your stuff.
I don't know. It's really hard to do.
I know I saw your hand. Anybody on this side of the room? Y'all, that's the quiet section? Okay. Alright, so back in the back, then I'll get you.
So, just thoughts on
So do you have a question before you finish that?
what are your thoughts on
Oh, don't be slick.
the balance between using Twitter as a promotional tool and then using it for fun? Like I use it kind of just to get out there, crack some bad jokes, interact with people. But then I stream also, so trying to not seem robotic when promoting the stream versus, and then it's all about like ethical social media use also. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm in the process of finding that exact balance, and that goes back to being yourself and letting like your personality and your passion drive your content. Be yourself, make your jokes, but step back, as I say, and view it from, would I hire this person? Do I want this person representing my company? If your goal, know your goal on social media. That also goes back to what I said earlier. Know where you fit. Know what your goals are. Okay, do I want to be this type of streamer? Do I want to be a charity streamer? Have your plan out for where you're going, so you know what type of content to put out where. Me, I'm a complete goofball, so I'm gonna make my jokes. They're gonna be in my streams. They're gonna be in, but from time to time, I'm gonna talk to you about some serious stuff. Let me talk to you about breast cancer. Let me tell you why you're not about to be racist on this platform today. You know what I'm saying? That's my brand. That's who I am. But I can still get on there and like blah 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 and laugh and giggle. But I'm still respecting myself, my community, and other people. So be yourself. Just try to create a brand within you.
And also, like, you talking about your stream because I follow your stream. If I go to, let's say I peep in your stream, Lila Rage, you see my rage, and I'm like, oh, this dude's cool. Let me go check out their Twitter so I can follow. And your Twitter stream is literally nothing but go live, 80 hashtags, and maybe your link. I'm be like, nah. Hopefully Twitch will tell me when you're on because your Twitter's boring as fuck. I want to know the person because for me at least when I follow a streamer, I'm not there like, I don't care about like you play Call of Duty or whatever. I want to see the person that's there. I'm not trying to go for personality or persona or fake person. And if I want to follow you on Twitter, what do you care about? What drives you? And if it's like you're talking about your day, there's a dog picture, then oh hey, I'm about to go on in 10 minutes, then dog picture, food, I went out and kicked it with the boys, whatever. You're an actual person to me, not just somebody on the screen I might watch and get some laughs to and maybe give you some bits, so $5 a month. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So no, dog pictures go well. Okay.
Dog, cat, and kind of fuzzy animals.
Pets, the fuzzy pets.
Yes, the question I had was that where do you strike the balance where, with your respective platforms in Tanya, I think I see you do this too, it's like, how do you hold yourself back from like venting your frustrations? My thing is that, I don't know if Tanya knows, but I made a thread where I was really like, angry about like trying to get into like writing, and I mentioned how like she inspires me with all the stuff she does. And then the other day I tweeted like this picture where like it's all like white folks and one brown dude, and I'm like, yep, this is like websites. We're like, yeah, we're diverse. And then I'm thinking, I know somebody's watching
But is it a lie though?
But yeah,
Right.
what would you say that was wrong?
And then, no, I said nothing wrong. And then I see people were like, oh my God, that's true. But at the same time, I'm thinking, am I shooting myself in the foot if I apply anywhere?
No.
No.
If anything, what you're doing is preventing yourself from being in a position where you don't want to be,
Right.
because you've been honest, and so now those people will know where you stand. And a great way about being honest like that is you're setting that boundary of like, this is what I will not tolerate. And because if you're not honest, if you kind of like hide those things about you, then you're going to be asked by like journals or wherever that like you're obviously not going to mesh with. So like I would say you haven't shot yourself in the foot at all. You're just making sure everyone knows where you stand, and that's important.
You don't have to bring that corporate mindset, like how we are out here in these regular jobs, you know, it's be good, don't speak out, don't. This is your content, this is your baby, so to say.
Yeah.
You know, speak up, be yourself, and don't be scared.
Yeah, I was about to ask something about that. I go off on trolls all the time, and it's just logical fallacies and false equivalencies, and I just get pissed. And I do it all the time, so it's not the most professional Twitter feed.
But it's your feed.
Yeah, and then I kind of feel like then I gotta. All right, I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna ever use Twitter to find a job.
Right.
That's just, you know, I would probably have to like have another Twitter feed just for anything professional related or whatever. I don't know. I mean, is that kind of? It's kind of like the dude who. It's kind of like that meme with Ice Cube where, you know, this is you on the job interview. Day up. And that's kind of how I feel, because it's like, okay, I think I need another Twitter feed for the creative and the marketing
so
aspect.
that wasn't a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I mean, is that authentic?
It is. So I've actually got 3 Twitter accounts. So I've got I Need Diverse Games got his own Twitter account and took over mine. My Twitter, Cyphertier, is me. The same grumpy asshole you're getting right now. This is who you're gonna get in person, on my stream, running to me on the street.
Right.
And then I made a smaller locked Twitter that I'm really, really selective about who gets access to that, because at least for me, I got to the point where I could say the sky is blue and it is literally blue, and I'll get somebody, well, you know it's green in the chemtrails, and I'm like, where did you come from? I'm not listening to happy clouds, and it's a beautiful day, and you want to talk about some weird conspiracy shit because you think, because I think people get an idea about follower numbers equals fame or money. Let me tell you, that is a lie.
Yeah.
That is a big old fucking lie.
Damn.
Because look, if I could get half the people who follow me on Twitter even send me $1 a month on Patreon, I'd be doing better than any job I've ever had in my life. But I think if you get to a point where you're either concerned that your current Twitter presence is an imposition, or even like if people are not following you or unfollowing based on what you say, do you want people who are just going to agree with you totally, or do you want conversation? Like, what is it you want to get out of Twitter? Is it your vent space? And if so, just go in your bio, this is my vent space. I ain't trying to debate. I ain't trying to do whatever. If you don't like it, you can bounce, whatever. Because there'll be tweets where it's like, even people I've known for years, where I'm like, okay, something must be going on because your Twitter went from this to this. I don't know what's going on, but I'll mute you or whatever. But at the end of the day, your social media is for you.
Right.
And if people want to come along, cool. If they don't, because at that point, that's when I stopped worrying about it. Because I used to be the person who had to reset my Twitter account literally every year for the one con I used to go to. And now I use Twitter way more than I ever thought. So
you can reset your Twitter?
not reset my password, because I would forget my password, so I would literally use it once a
Do
month.
that.
All right, and we've got about a minute left, so everybody talk about who you are, where we can find you, and then don't go anywhere. We're gonna, at least I and Shonte will be here, a couple other folks, to talk about the reality of the hustle and making it, or what you think means making it.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun, because I'm gonna cuss a lot more.
I'm Shonte again. You can find me at Shonte Writes. That's SHONTE, and then just Writes on Twitter. And you can find my podcast at, gosh, I'm real bad at that, but it's npconvos.com, so you can just go there. It's also like on Spotify, iTunes and stuff, but yeah, where you can find me.
So, I'm Lila Bobina. You can find me on Twitch. You can find me anywhere. Twitch, Lila Bobina. Twitter, Lila Bobina. That's LilaBobina. On Instagram, I'm the Featherbones. I should probably change it, but
Branding.
Right, I'm just like, but yeah, that's me, Lila Bobina. You can also find me LilaBobinaGames.com words.
I'm ciphered here pretty much everywhere. If you look up my name, you'll find me. Don't tell me what you'll find, because I Googled myself the other day. That was a bad idea. I was trying to see if there was some media out there from an event I went to. That was a bad idea. All right, so take a break. If you're staying for the next panel, go get some water, go to the bathroom, and come back. Thank you.
Thank you.
For showing
Thank
up.
you.
Yeah.
Sure.